The man! The myth! The legend! Oh shit! Oh, what the fuck? Look at my camera! By turning on the camera on stream and on Discord, I just glitched out my own camera, bro.
Oh, and you're supposed to be an expert.
No one, I never claimed that. Here, so I'm back. So, just so you know, Cezar, we are live.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, I'm gonna implore you, no racial slurs.
Okay. I'll try. I'll try.
Here you go.
How are you? How's the family? How's the brother?
Everything's good, man. Everyone's good. But you know my brother is a father now, right?
Yes, of course I know.
Cezar! Dude, where to even fucking begin, man? Where to even fucking begin?
No, man. You start from one end of the pizza and you work your way to the other side, I guess.
When let me guess, you just got home from work.
Excusez-moi?
Oh, you do home office. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, this is my office. This is where I live, effectively.
And so is it true that I'm not just talking to some low-level pleb right now? I'm actually talking to a creative director.
No, it's a pleb director of some description. I don't know, man. It's a strange paradigm, actually. We in the West, we're not super comfortable in companies with the hierarchy and stuff like that. So it feels very weird to pull rank and say, well, creative director. It's weird.
Can we talk about what game you're working on, or?
Yes, I guess, because it was announced. It was not no reveal trailer yet, but it was announced. Yes, I am working on Lord of the Fallen 2.
Sheesh. But you're not just working on it. You are the creative director of that game. It's your baby, your first baby.
Yeah, I quit my job in the Square Enix environment, Crystal Dynamics stuff. I quit my job.
You mean at Virtuous? You mean the Virtuous thing, yeah?
Yeah. I was working for those IPs. So yeah, I dropped everything because I got in touch with the CI Games, and they told me, "Hey man, we're looking to work on to make Lords of the Fallen 2. You have some combat experience. You're great on Dark Souls. You have great credentials." I sent them my pitch, what I would do, and then I ironed it out with the CEOs and all the big wigs, and boom. We shook hands.
How did that happen so quickly? As someone like you just suddenly landed a creative director role. Was that not for you? Like, how the fuck did I get here suddenly? I'm just now I'm doing this. What the fuck? How?
It's not an expedited process. When it comes to stuff like this, there's a lot of money involved. There is a lot of creative differences. So effectively, the way it works is just to create very detailed pitches. And the pitch is different from what we're doing right now. I mean, not super different, but it evolved. The direction was set. They agreed. They saw other directors before me. And once they agreed and we liked it, and we envisioned, and everybody pitched in, all the involved people, and then they started downloading money.
But that was
that's all I can say.
That was a pitch that you made, right? Was that a pitch that you made? Because as the creative director, you decide what direction the game is going, yeah?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, Lords of the Fallen 1, I never actually played that game, but I know from Andy that he always thought Lords of the Fallen was super underrated and a very good game. Andy always tells me, like, Lords of the Fallen is a great fucking game. Like, long before you started working on anything like that. I never actually touched it. I didn't play it. I just know you play like a super chunky guy with like a huge sword. That's all I know about it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with Lords of the Fallen, I have a quite of history.
Okay.
In fact, I quit Ubisoft to work with Virtuous. That back in the day, they were doing a pitch for Lords of the Fallen 2, like years ago. They were looking for a lead combat designer for Lords of the Fallen 2. That's the reason I quit Ubisoft. Virtuous dropped the mandate, did not get it, but which is super normal.
Yeah.
And then I was supremely disappointed because I did not even get the chance to actually work on this mandate before CI Games said no. But I continued Virtuous. I worked on Shadow
of the Tomb Raider,
which was a great project to be. But Lords of the Fallen 2 was handed over to Defiance, gentlemen from the US.
Okay.
And they worked on it for a year or so, and they did tremendous advancements. But turns out their output for their, let's say, vertical slice was not, satisfactory.
Like basically their project got canned and then handed off again.
Exactly. Well,
Shit.
CI Games took it back in because they were not willing to commit to the existing project. Did not pan out the way, it inspired confidence that the project is the product is competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to look 2 or 3 years in the future and say, hey, is this thing where we're putting all our money in, is this gonna break down some doors? Is this gonna be an 85 plus on Metacritic? I know I'm exaggerating, but so they slept on it. They looked at other partners and then they decided, holy crap, I think the best way is to open our own studio with AAA guys and we're gonna make it from scratch.
Sheesh. I mean, they got the right man to do it, man. They got you.
Well, I talked to the big boss, Marek, and I looked at him and we sniffed each other. Okay, are you for real, bro? Are you for real? I mean, of course, now it's my company. They employed me. We worked together in a new company to work on this game, so I can't say bad things about him.
Yeah, of course.
It will sound weird, but the truth is I was super surprised by his panache. By his courage.
Panache.
I worked with big companies and big corporates, and they're
You work with Ubisoft, bro. What's bigger?
Yeah, I mean, a ton of directors and brand directors and working on Assassins and Ghost Recon. There is a lot of trepidation, there's no balls to the walls. All right, let's do it. So it was quite strange. So I saw this guy who was super driven and I said, oh my God, okay, this is the guy I can go exploring the Antarctica with. This guy, he's willing to risk. And for me, that meant a lot. Of course,
Cezar, we have a problem, right? You know that when you and I talk, there's no end in sight. But
let's go to the question.
No. I don't want to go to the questions of the people immediately because I have some stuff where I think you have fascinating insights. And I remember we didn't talk about this for that much, but can you run me through how you and the people that you have contact with perceived the fallout that happened from Cyberpunk? Because you always told me like Cyberpunk sent like ripples through the industry and like everywhere. It was like an echo heard everywhere and it fundamentally shifted certain things. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can talk only a little bit about that.
Oh, okay.
Only a little bit.
Okay.
So, funny enough, Cyberpunk is Polish. My employer is also Polish. So for them was...
Be careful.
It had a lot of collateral. I mean, they were quite shook. And this is all an investor problem. You're a Polish company. You're within the same thing. There's a stigma now associated. It was very difficult for us.
What exactly does that mean? So, for example, if another company makes a bad game, how does that impact other projects of other companies?
Because investors that put money in your game, they put 100 euros in your game and they expect to get 200. Or they should have invested in eggs.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. They just put money, and the first thing they ask you, are we gonna get in that situation?
Some uncomfortable investor meetings, I imagine.
Yeah, and you're like, bro, on my mother's grave.
We're not doing Cyberpunk.
I mean, are you gonna announce on previous gen as well? They're poking you. So no. But it was tricky. It was a bit tricky, but nothing major. But it felt the ripples of it all. We felt that.
So without saying like anything wrong, but from what I hear, there was a lot of argument and even like lawsuits filed against CD Projekt Red from investors saying like they allegedly misled them or something like that. And I think they settled recently. Was the impact that had maybe like were investors? I bet there are a lot of investors in video games who actually don't play video games.
Oh yeah,
and
of course.
Did something change? Maybe that even those people, they were like, yo, I want to see the game and I want to see it now. You know what I mean?
No.
Because Cyberpunk was so broken, they're like, show me the game.
Yeah, well, we were too early for any of these things. But we had a very strong pitch. Our game is super spicy. It's going to be super spicy. And it got people excited across the board. That impact, that sort of buffered stuff like
You're
that.
kind of doing the unofficial first marketing event for Lords of the Fallen too. You get the first people hyped here.
I ain't gonna shut up. But it's spicy. It's spicy. It's great.
I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I'm turbo excited.
You need to be on the big stage, Cezar, right next to Jeff Keighley, and you tell
man.
Jeff Keighley, bro, fuck the Oscars, man. This is my time to shine, man.
No, sir, no. The thing is with these games, especially when you're building it from scratch, there's nothing, and then there is a white box, and then there's a character T-posing sideways, walking around. When you have nothing, and after 6 months you get struck and the heart reacts are weird, You know, when you're building everything from scratch, it's all such a collective work. I cannot put to words.
How do you juggle this? How do you do it?
No, but I don't do it. I'm just
You're the creative director. You're literally Spider-Man who has all the fucking things attached to him. Marketing, producers, artists, programmers, and they're all pulling at you, and you're like, wow, please.
That's not true, Anton.
Give yourself some
true.
credit, Cezar. Come on.
The way it works is that I say some bullshit. I write some documents.
You motherfucker.
And then we have incredible art director that takes those arts and make them to next level. And then we have a crazy good executive producer. This guy has been my lifeline because I cannot validate myself. I cannot put something in the game and say yes. No, this guy has been my utter lifeline. And he built the team from scratch, and he had incredible input, and he still has incredible.
This is AAA, right? Lords of the Fallen 2.
Yes. So it's a team. Now I played the latest build, which was after 1 year closed it, and it just blew my mind. There were things in the game that I did not even knew they existed, and I was like, "Holy shit! Is that's a mini boss? Oh yeah, he went into mini boss. Okay, now that's a mini. All right." And it moved so fast because we have a very talented team that works on the game, and I cannot gate their progress to check things with me or Saul all the time. And we draw lines of satisfaction because in our team everybody has something to say, and we shift the game a little bit based on everybody's input. And I drew all the people that I knew from other projects, people I trusted my life. Saul did the same, because you need incredible trust in order to accomplish a AAA in such a short amount of time. You cannot iterate for 7 years like Anthem. You need to eat on horseback. You need to ride the horses and eat, and drink the blood like the Mongols did from the horse.
Speaking of Mongols, see you. Okay.
Development, man, it's crazy.
I just recently watched a documentary about a Japanese famous video game director, not Kojima, but what's his name, Shinji Mikami or something.
Shinji Mikami, yeah.
I always knew about him, but I looked into him again on Wikipedia. What a fucking legend that guy is. And I watched an interview with him, and I wanted to ask you this, if you think this is true. He feels like, personally, creative directors peak in their 30s, he said. And he said the reason for that is because he said that game development is such an incredibly exhausting job. Being the creative director, like, it's such an incredibly stressful job. The responsibility, how all the threads like run together in you, and it's your ass that's accountable. He says that only in your 30s do you have the creative energy mixed with just the life force energy, where you can shoulder this weight. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that?
I think he's right. It's just like sex. You're in your prime.
Bro, you're talking to Twitch chat. No, that's totally unrelatable for Twitch chat.
But no, you have a prime for everything when you have the energy and the audacity. Yes, it's true. Now I'm far more calculated, far more premeditated before I say anything. And my most daring designs were in my 30s for sure. Now I'm more data driven. I look at other games, see how they do it. I make an Excel sheet. I think about elements, and then I make a more educated decision, which makes for less spicy content, I guess, but it's more pliable. I can see that, but there also is this ceiling that you get from playing games. Right now I play far less games than I used to play, or I don't finish them anymore, and I'm missing out, and I have to watch YouTube.
Bro, if you didn't play games 2021, you didn't really miss out on much, let me tell you.
No, but I did. I agree with that statement. I'm quite a young director. I'm privileged, not to be super old. I lived this year on so that they fool people about my age. But I've met many very clever, smart individuals that used to work on Titan games like Fable 2, or they saved those projects. Some really mighty developers. But I noticed that with age comes certain predilections, certain beliefs. They are rooted in certain schools of thought, which may or may not be up to speed with the industry. But creative directors, they're not authors like Shinji Mikami or some other Japanese crazy legends. Well, we are people of the people. We need to work with data. then,
I was thinking maybe what he's talking about is like that when you're like mid-30, it's like where everything comes together perfectly. Like you are not this sort of young, naive, foolish artist, but you're also not completely data-driven yet. So like you're right there where it hits the balance, where you have experience, you understand that data is important to make a good game or to pitch it well. You still have creative ideas, plus you have the most sort of energy because you're in your 30s, you're not 50 anymore, you're not 50 or something, So it just kind of makes sense sort of intuitively what Shinji Mikami said there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And also, I want to ask you, we've heard recently there were these headlines about massive, I don't know if it was overhyped, but everyone reported on it, that there's a mass exodus of talent at Ubisoft.
That's true.
I mean, we watched it here on stream, the trailer of that, what was it? The Ghost Recon,
Don't. On the outside, it's funny. The memes will always be funny.
Yeah, of
the
course,
satisfaction, sticking it to the man.
Yeah.
Ubisoft must fall. NFTs, be damned. But at the end of the day, you poured just 3 years in a project that was shaky, and it fell. But it fell like nothing fell before.
Oh yeah. And the more you look into Ubisoft, the more shocking it becomes how many irons they have in the, what do you call it? Irons in the fire that are just completely doomed to fail. Like dude, X-Defiant, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that gets canned. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just real talk. Then we have Skull and Bones, which has been a money sink for 5 years. You have Beyond Good and Evil, which has been some leaker said that he's expecting it to get cancelled any time because I think it lost its creative director or something. Rainbow Six Extraction, yes, chat is reminding me. Oh my god, bro, when they announced this at E3, or was it E3? I said, Ubisoft, cancel it now. I don't even have the data, all right? I'm not even big brain Cezar, and I can tell you this, no. It's not gonna work. And they're gonna feel that so hard right now. Like, what is going on at Ubisoft's head? They have these amazing IPs and they just...
I can't talk shit about
Ubisoft.
Yeah,
I understand. I understand.
So I've been out of the Ubisoft loop, of the Ubiverse for a while.
The Ubiverse.
But I can tell you that Ubisoft is quite like, if you want a crass metaphor, Ubisoft is like the vampire theater in Interview with the Vampire. They are insanely powerful, talented, but decadent. They're so rooted in their beliefs and their past, all their directors, that sometimes the obvious things are not so obvious to them.
I think
because of political views and because of the way they are anchored in tradition and in their own values. They cannot fail. It's like Anthem and BioWare. We cannot fail. Our decisions.
Resting on their laurels, or what the fuck's it called?
No, it's when you are so prestigious and you have such a lengthy history, you cannot only but be drunk with success, just like Blizzard. So you don't think you're doing anything wrong. In fact. And some of the decisions you're taking are going to be controversial, but you believe in your strategy, you believe in the people that are mandated the strategy, and that backfires. And this kind of skews optics. It's very tricky. I wouldn't want to be in the editorial right now.
If you could give me your educated guess, Cezar, how many pitches for a Splinter Cell game have been made in the last 10 years and have been shut down? If you could just guess, like from your knowledge of video game industry, how many pitches do you think that have existed and that were made and that got shut down? Because Blacklist was 2013. That's 9 years ago. Oh my god.
A lot of them. Many. I don't know. Depends. Most of these projects are also reimaginings, repitches, tweak, change. Like For Honor was pitched and repitched and repitched.
I mean, For Honor made it quite big. For Honor was a big success.
Oh man, but you don't know the effort in order to validate. So many people stuck out their necks for that project to happen because, it was not part of the strategy. Anyway, it's complicated.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a complicated machine. Very powerful, but made from many modules that moves difficult, and when it starts, it's hard to stop.
I just don't understand, man. They have like these IPs that are so incredibly valuable, and they're like Sam Fisher, Splinter Cell, do you remember those days, Cezar, when it was literally Splinter Cell versus Metal Gear Solid? Like, they were compared always. It was the Western version of Metal Gear Solid is Splinter Cell. And both of these games got, like, critically acclaimed, yeah? And then they just decide, hey, you know what, that game, no. That franchise, no. 8 years, nothing. In my head, I bet they had, like, a game already in production at some point, and then it was canned halfway through or something. That's not beyond like imagining, no?
Well, make no mistake. If Ubisoft put its mind to it and the directors agreed and shake hands, Ubisoft can still make the Splinter Cell game. They can still do it. Despite the Exodus, they still command incredible talent. Incredible talent. We would kill for people of their caliber that work the Ubisoft halls. We would kill, literally we would kill.
Sheesh.
So they can still do it. So it's all about, they're shaking out the old tree, they're changing folks in editorial, which is good to get new blood. It's always good. So I'm not too worried about Ubisoft. Besides, they say no king rules forever. That being said, Ubisoft is big enough to amputate some limbs, get new blood in, and then regrow. Guys, don't be too quick to sing their dirge.
Someone in chat is saying, if they got so much talented people, why is Far Cry the way it is? Checkmate, Cezar.
Well, Far Cry is a deeply iterative game. It's built on the previous game, and in order to take it out, they inherit a lot of their tech and paradigms. But we talked about this when we talked about Borderlands 3. It's an iterative game. They cannot slingshot too far. The next one, they might do more.
Yeah. Jason Schreier reported on that.
It's still gonna fall under people's expectations in terms of innovation. But it's like FIFA 64. It's a deeply iterative game. So Ubisoft is gonna. I mean, if you played Republic, Riders Republic.
Do not talk shit about Riders Republic. I swear to you.
No, I'm
Cezar.
not. That's what I'm trying to say.
This is my favorite game of the year.
Whenever a new idea comes in and comes strong, and it's a new IP that is not. It's not beholden to any of the Ubisoft paradigms. It hits like a fist of an angry god, like Riders Republic. So it's
who made that game? I want to shake that person's hand and say, dude, you've made the best Ubisoft game in years. Do you know how much fun I have with Riders Republic?
That's delightful.
It is so fucking good. Thank you, Ubisoft. This proved to me they still got it. It is just, I'm so happy that this was greenlit. I feel like this could have been so easily canned. Be like, oh, whatever, who needs this? But no, they did it. They did it.
Very ambitious, well polished.
Yes. Huge world. Yeah,
that's very good.
Okay, let's see what the Q&A brain has come up with. So someone's asking, what is the upside of being in this industry? For what you said before, it completely alters and kind of ruins how you play games. You end up exhausted and disappointed after making a game. And many people are completely expendable and under the order of higher ups who harm their creative process of making games. What makes working on games worth it, and would you recommend it to anyone?
Holy shit.
It's the good old question, kind of.
So, I am at this time 41 years old. I started with music, I did theater, I engaged in other industries, that's what I'm trying to say. And then I did games because I did not felt fulfilled playing the Philharmonic or playing in the theater. So I picked up games. And for me, games brought everything together. Everything. My musical skill set, my dramatic gear mechanism skill set, it brought them all together, and I could not imagine doing anything else at this time. So if games are a passion of yours and you are interested about their inner workings, you should definitely pursue a career. That being said, just like the movie industry and the music industry and the fashion industry, it is incredibly heartbreaking how the industry exploits people's enthusiasm with underpaid, spiky working conditions. You're not going to make a lot of money. It's difficult. It's a difficult place to be in. It's incredibly demanding because a lot of people are burning their passion, and when you fall back, they lash out of you. You become persona non grata really quickly if you cannot ride with the Mongol spearhead. You have to ride hard, ride fast, be aware of being burning. You're going to get burned sooner or later, and you need to remain cautious and humble. Always treat people well and just count your money and look for good projects. It's a job. I don't think that answered the question.
No, I think that absolutely did answer. I'm just kind of wonder if I had any talent that was usable in a video game. It just seems like if you're a movie star, you're gonna be rich. And if you
no, sir. Only 0.5% of the actors are rich. All the other actors, we are dying. We are living on food.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying, there's no person involved in the making of a video game that's super rich. I feel like the money is going to like the investors and the really high ups that are not directly involved in the making of the product. You know what I mean?
Let it go. You died. You bled. let it go.
Shit, man.
That's not your money. If you let it go, and if people like you, they'll help you up.
Yeah.
But if you're a negative Nelly, if you're someone who is grudging and I'm not paid enough, my remuneration was not up to my own satisfaction, therefore I'm gonna work less. If you do it like that, you will struggle more than you should. In this industry where you work with other people, you need to be a part of the team. You cannot pull anyone back, and you have to work. That's the truth of it, and the money will come. The money. I mean, I was underpaid 80% of my career. I was severely underpaid, and until I got the break, and before I got the break, I had 2 points where I conducted myself with extreme negativity.
Burnout type thing, you mean?
No, but I felt entitled, and I was ignored effectively, or I was blamed for things I did not do. And you feel angry, you feel like sabotaging your brain, the reptilian brain goes to places, because it's like in that documentary Jiro Dreams of Sushi, that 3-star Michelin sushi master. He says people come to my shop to earn money but not to learn how to make sushi. So that's the problem. So if you don't have that mindset and you just let it go and you work hard again and you work hard again, you will catch a break. You will.
People go to the Shaolin Temple expecting the ego death, but the actual ego death happens in video game development studios. So a good friend of mine in chat is asking, even like people like Kojima that have such incredible trust offered to them by their publishers and things like that, do you think they make a lot of money, or do you think they still only get like a tiny fraction and the big bag is taken by Sony or whatever, like superstar developers, like that? Or
when I started in the industry, for me a lot of money meant I can afford pizza twice a week. That was for me the ideal. If I could go to KFC and pizza twice a week and still have a stock up fridge, for me that was the life, bro. As you grow old, as you grow older, you start earning more money, and then more money changes definition. Even today, if I would be face to face at the pearly gates, God will ask me. I'm not a religious man, but it doesn't matter. Will ask you, "Are you happy with what you did?" No, there are not enough money, because the more you cross a certain threshold, and I'm sure this is exactly for the same people. You think, okay, I want to open my own studio. I need this amount of money. I'm running out of time. I need to do that. You will not get rich working in the industry unless you risk your life like Kojima or Hidetaka Miyazaki did. When you risk your life, or you're a pillar of the industry because you were there at the right time and you delivered more good than bad. Because even those legends delivered stinkers, delivered stuff that, But if you are in that privilege, but that's not an example. You should not get your metrics from Kojima or from those.
These are exceptions,
absolute
exceptions.
You're not Jeff Bezos. You're not going to walk in his shadow. Don't worry about it,
So this is going to be interesting. Is COVID still affecting the gaming industry as badly as in 2020? And has it gotten any better?
So now it's better because we got adjusted from working remotely. I still work remotely. This is my world.
I like that sword you got there. When you imagine the moves from your game, you're like, oh, and then he goes like that. And,
that's another topic, but yes. COVID has put us against the wall, bro. Because all our systems were at work. We had to ship stuff. We had to change. It was incredibly difficult and paralyzed huge segments. But now we save some money, no longer renting a studio, so there's some money saved there. People are more safe because they're indoors.
Do you think some studios are going to stay like this even in a post-COVID? They're just going to say fuck offices, we'll just remain like this?
We discuss at upper management the same question every 2 weeks or so.
Oh wow.
When are we going back? But why going back?
Only to be shut down again 2 weeks later,
we keep. Do you imagine someone getting sick and spreading COVID somewhere in the team? We have some key people in the project. Some key people. If they get sick,
it's on ice. It's paused.
It's severely impactful. So, long story short, working from home has massive advantages, because now our team, we are truly on 3 time zones. We are truly international. It's challenging not meeting people, waiting for your turn to speak, or interrupting, or entering in meetings with 20, 30 people, trying to make sense of it and get input and all that. it's challenging. It's challenging that we don't have a sense of camaraderie as strong, like we don't go eating together. You're not sniffing someone, you don't check their computer and they call you, hey, look this, look that. We always have to be meetings. So in a way, things are also slow. But long story short, it's like living in bunkers during the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
It's weird for the first year, and then you're kind of get used to it.
Is it a good thing though that the industry is getting used to it? Because as someone who's a complete outsider to the industry, right? I'm talking as a complete outsider to you who's an insider. But I'm kind of wondering, there's something about making a game, an aspect that is completely irreplaceable. And I feel like that's the dynamic of people all being in a big office and the creative director just walking from table to table talking to people like your average worker ant. He might have like something that he wants to bring up to you that's like just a small thing. You're like, oh, Cezar, check this out real quick. And he might not feel as comfortable enough to bring this up like in a formal meeting, you know, because it's not relevant enough to be brought up formally. Like, excuse me, I have this thing here. But if it's just interpersonal, he would say, oh, Cezar, check this out. And I feel like there's something about the person-to-person communication that is like in real life that is just, you cannot replace this. You cannot replace it through online meetings. It just can't be done.
Well, they do approach me on Slack. You
think to the same extent as it would be if you share the space?
No, it's more difficult. But they still do it. But at the same time, Slack sort of made our teams broken down into strike teams. And I noticed something. They are quite reticent to show me something unless it's well fleshed out.
That changes workflow.
And I see something that is way more fleshed out. In a way, it's very good, but in the other way, I cannot disapprove of it because a lot of people now believe in it. You know, I can't say, interesting, no.
Yeah. It's been worked out so much that at that point, when you say this is not the direction I want to take this in, it's very demotivating, isn't it? Yeah, it's.
Yes, sir. But myself, I'm an energy vampire. I'm a social creature. For me, it's incredibly difficult to work isolated.
Yeah.
So I would go back to the studio tonight
in a heartbeat.
But a lot of people, they don't. So we might end up making a hybrid
solution.
But since we're scattered to the wind as we are from US to Madrid, to here to Barcelona, to Romania, to Ukraine, to Germany, we have a guy in the Alps. Like you need a helicopter to get to his house. So you're not moving these people. So we had the opportunity of getting incredible talent, stuff that we handpicked like SWAT members, you know. But they were able to join us because they can work from their home. Otherwise, they could not relocate.
Such a long list of like positives and negatives that you kind of wonder where you end up in the end, you know. Is it a net positive? Is it a net negative?
That's like in that song I told you about, Tim Minchin's The Fence. The more you know about something, the harder it is to make up your mind if it's good or bad.
Yeah.